really who I played was Christian. Now, I started off playing Apollyon to kind of understand things, if you know who Apollyon is. It was kind of the enemy. But then I realized after a while, dealing with the Pilgrims Progress and the Puritan players and the directors and writers that were part of that it was a time for me to follow the journey of Christian, who left his family to go on this dangerous journey, this adventure, this quest, you could say adventure, quest, to seek out the high road, not the worldly path, not the legality path, right? The safe path. Oh, wait, we're about to pass Time Monkey right here. I can only show it like right here. You can see the yellow. Yellow is a very big, like, kind of Buddhist thing. But to find a path that is somewhat kind of sometimes troublesome, the hard path, the narrow path, right? That leads us in the story to the city, the celestial city. Uh-oh, we're getting some rain. Anyway, you got to read John Bunyan, Pilgrims Progress. It was one of the most popular and first novels ever written. We got rain coming up.
Please subscribe show. YouTube Cole Spivey. Yeah, man.
Inside here, so here we go.
Please subscribe show. YouTube Cole Spivey.
The idea that the evangelist tells Christian, he says, follow that light. He's pointing to the sun. He says, keep that light in your eyes, and basically telling them this, this is not going to be easy. And other members or other characters have come to Christian and told him that there is an easy way. It's the worldly way. It's the way of legality. They actually John Bunyan used the word legality. And you have to kind of meditate and think about what exactly is legality in your life. Legality allows you to have the things that you want because of man's law, not because of God's love. I would say God's law, but I'd rather say God's love. Do you see the difference? If I were to say God's law, then we get into Moses and we go back, and it's kind of knocking out 1 and -1, right? You obviously know at this point that this is kind of genius stuff, but this is John Bunyan. Okay. And what I mean by 1 and -1 is if you were to say, well, I'm following the path of legality because it's also Moses' law, and no, that's what I mean. It doesn't knock out that. It's either legality or God's love. Now, God's law is part of God's love, but we must know God's grace and his love to understand what he wants from us. It's about love and forgiveness, not about man's legality and law. There's a difference. You could say that the separation between church and state is kind of like that, because you have the church and you have the state that's involved in legality, and you have the church that's not always involved in reason, but rather in God. Why does God want us to live a life of sobriety and to be kind and to follow him? Why? Because he loves us and he wants us to be good children, because we are his children. We are not his adults. We are not these lawyers of legality saying, you're wrong, Cole, because of this and this and this. We're not to do that in the church. We know that. Paul already told us that we've all fallen short of the glory of God. Everybody, even the person speaking. So why would you sit down a husband in the church and say, these are the things that we want from you so you can gain your children back, starting with, starting with a good job, Cole. A good job that is right along with legal tender. Do you think a good job is going to allow me to speak these things and go through these things all the time? I don't know. I don't know if I was a banker, if I'd had a time when I was a banker for 4 years, and that whole world of being in the bank is a world of legality. It's a world of legality. And the world of God is the world of love and understanding and forgiveness, and also knowing that Jesus Christ rules in your heart and mind, wants you to be sober and vigilant, because the enemy is out there like a lion, awaiting to pounce, like a crouching tiger, like a lion awaiting to pounce and consume. And you must be aware and vigilant and sober. I tell my friend to give up alcohol because we have to live this life of sobriety and be sober to truly allow the Lord to work in us in all ways. Now, when I mean the first novel ever written was Pilgrims Progress, there was...
Watch out. Construction on road ahead.
There were 2 books that were given out to most of the travelers, or we could even say Puritans, the people that were traveling to the New World, to explore the New World, coming over from Europe and then into America. There were 2 books given, the Bible and Pilgrims Progress by John Bunyan. Those are the 2 books. Well, looky there, we're headed to Time Monkey. Now remember, the 2 books were the Bible and John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress, which is a great read. John Bunyan wrote it in Bedford jail. Some say that he may have eaten something like some bad bread, that kind of theory, what got him to be so imaginative, because it's a very, very creative, almost on the same level of C.S. Lewis. I would say probably on that same fantastical J.R. Tolkien kind of, or C.S. Lewis realm, very fantastical fantasy, right? So it's not scripture at all, but it uses scripture within the novel to kind of let you see the world the way that Christian would see it. That there's a town of vanity. There's these different towns. You meet Apollyon, you fall into the bog of despair. You're pulled out by worldly wise men who tells you, go down this path. It's an easy path of legality. You go and you veer from that. You're known as a man that left his family behind to go on this great journey. It's a great adventure to find the celestial city, to get away from the city of destruction, right? And he goes on this journey. Christian goes on this journey, and his family's left behind. Now later his family's invited to join, his family is invited to go on this journey, to meet back up with the husband, not only Christ, but with Christian. And they were to meet up together under Christ's reign. And then, there's all these little towns and all these, there's so much more in the book than what we did in the play, because we just couldn't do the whole, I don't even know how many pages. No one really knows exactly how many pages that Bunyan wrote. But they do have an original manuscript. We actually had that original manuscript there in the theater on showcase at one of the performances. It was a great little performance. It didn't get worldwide attention. I remember Margaret, one of the directors, was praying. She prayed with me and she said, "What you're doing, Cole, is not great in the world's eyes, but it is great in God's eyes." And it made a lot of sense to me. And she prayed and made sure that I didn't forget any of my lines. I never really did. We one time had a little problem with a loop we got caught in a loop one time, but me and Steven, another actor, got out of it. But it does remind me, because I'm no longer with my family. My wife has left me. My children are behind me. And I felt God had sent me on this real adventure to sit there and tell people, hey, I'm okay. I'm dealing with battles like the rain. And I'm going through these problems, like legality is a problem. And I'm trying to follow the Lord and His commands. I want to heal people. I want to baptize. But I'm also dealing with the real reality of a real Christian in 2022, okay? Not just, Christian, which, you got to realize I was trained to be a method actor. So it's easy for me to fall into the imaginations of John Bunyan, even in the real world. Like, what does this mean? What does Thai monkey mean? What does the Buddhist colony mean? When I go into it, what is God saying to me? What am I trying to do? What message am I giving others? I'm not real dogmatic on evangelical. And actually, I did belong to a non-evangelical church in Maine for a little while. I'm mostly Baptist, and they are evangelical. But I don't feel that I can just go around to every single person. I wish, I don't know. I'm going to have to go over where these trees are. I don't really always know my evangelical. And it brings me to a guy named Adam the Woo, because his father's a minister. He just went on a baseball game with his dad. And I do talk about him because he, I think, is on kind of something similar. I don't really know if it's evangelical, but it certainly feels that way at times. And I ask myself, because faithful, excuse me, I'll put this right here. Faithful is actually martyred, and then hopeful goes on the adventure all the way to the river of death. Hopeful does. He follows Christian all the way there. Oh, this is moving up around. I'm gonna move this right here so I can breathe a little bit better. So faithful, he meets first and doesn't make it. He gets caught in the town of Vanity. He's tried, pretty much kind of like tried as a Christian. In the town of Vanity, it's not good to be a Christian. You could think of like even Hollywood or something. And then he's basically martyred. And then hopeful meets up with him later, and they go all the way to the river of death and pass through it and into the celestial city. I gotta get this next thing. I don't really worry about that. I'm just gonna carry it. Well, I just don't want to get the bags too wet. And so here is Thai monkey in the rain. Of course, I don't know if the train's gonna be coming or anything like this. I go to Thai monkey quite a bit, and here it is right here. And I usually stop right on the monkey's face. I'm not really trying to make any type of point. It's just I think the monkey looks cool. All right. It's like, shot a monkey. Woo! Okay, here we go. Let's try to get in here. All right, so we have some cover here. This thing is really very strange. A lot of wind. It's just I don't know why. Let's go in. Perfect little monkey, and the way they usually put candy there. It's a really cool restaurant. Kind of see it's picking up quite a bit. I got the umbrella right there, just kind of drying off. So we're probably going to be dealing this dealing with it for probably about, I don't know, I think probably for the next 3 or 4 hours off and on. So Oh, it's tasty. I came out with the bags here. You can see I'm just kind of cornered. I probably should have brought the bags, but I thought this was a cool time. Maybe get a little bit of train action. And also, of course, you know, Thai Monkey being right there and the train being behind me. I just had to, you know, capture the sound and the rain and train behind me and the food being carried, the Thai food, the noodles, and trying to balance everything in one hand with the umbrella. It takes a lot of humanity. Okay. Train finally passed. I couldn't get that because I'm dealing with happy food. But I am trying my best. I want to kind of show you the situation that I'm in because my trunk is actually broken. So it won't, I have to get it fixed. And I have the part, so if you're a technician, let me know. So that doesn't happen and ruin my new glasses. The trunk has kind of become my enemy. Because it's snapped, so it only has one rod on there. It's very, very difficult to work with. But it will cost $80 for 30 minutes worth of technician work from Kia to even work on it. So I have to balance the trunk like this. It's very difficult to do. But if you would like to donate to help get my trunk fixed, let me know that you sent some money in my PayPal, and I will use that just to fix the trunk. I promise you, I assure you I will. But they said, Kia said it would be $75 for 30 minutes of labor to get it fixed. And that's just kind of a luxury, so I have to go through that. And as you can see, that hit the glass. These are brand new glasses, and it went right for the glasses and knocked them off. So if you want to donate just to have the trunk fixed, leave a message. You can also just go to the PayPal, which is it's right there in my description under paypal.me/Cole Spivey, which is my name. I will actually go to the dealership and vlog the repair of that trunk. Like I said, it's $80, $75, I'm sure with tax and everything. It will be like about maybe $80 for them to properly put it in there so that I have a functioning trunk. I'll be able to pop the trunk. It'll help me with everything that I'm doing, so I do appreciate it. The train is passed, and we're turning everything in, and we're headed off. Leaving Thai Monkey. And we're gonna drop off at the doorstep. But I am grateful to all my teachers at the Actor Studio, like every single teacher, even the guest teachers, even the movie stars that came in. Because there's always something to be learned from great people. You could call them kings or movie stars, and not they weren't just movie stars that trained us, but there were movie stars: Johnny Depp, Richard Gere, Benicio del Toro, Bruce Willis, Kevin Costner. I mean, it was so many of them. Will Smith was there. Samuel Jackson, Sir Ian McKellen. You know, of course, Johnny Depp had the sellout one. You know, Johnny Depp is very popular. Kind of taught us about popularity. Just so many great teachers, you know. Benicio was wonderful, wonderful teacher. Benicio del Toro, just a wonderful teacher. Gere was even good. Richard Gere was even good. He taught something about reaction and things like that and stuff. And working with Sam Shepard and all kinds of great things. But just a lot of them all. Just look at that year between 2001, 2002 inside the Actor Studio. Bravo. Just check that out. That whole year was magical. Everybody from Johnny Depp to Bruce Willis to Sir Ian McKellen to Hugh Grant, Sissy Spacek, Deborah Winger, I'm a big Deborah Winger fan. She's so great. Ben Kingsley, you know. Ethan Hawke, you know, even Ethan Hawke.
Please subscribe show. YouTube Cole Spivey. Yeah, man.
Inside here, so here we go.
Please subscribe show. YouTube Cole Spivey.